Okay, hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm on the boat now. This is going to be edited together later, but don't worry, we're not going to fake anything or put any ghost noises or anything on it. This is my home, this boat, really. It's, my family in this boat, we go back years to 2007. Now, what it was, we lived on a boat in Brighton Marina. We bought that boat for £1,500 and we lived on it in the boatyard when the kids were little for 14 months, and we spent all our working wages on it, and it really was a hard slog, and eventually we sold it for £16,000. And we wanted to live down here. So initially the idea was that we were going to sail Far Ben from Brighton down to Gibraltar, which of course is a very, very long and arduous journey. So in the end I thought, well, and also I contacted the marinas in Gibraltar and they said, we've got no space. So I thought, well, what about buying an existing boat that's already in Gibraltar? And that's where this boat comes in. I saw it advertised initially for £20,000. And I contacted the guy and said, you know, it's a bit out of our price range, but maybe we can get a loan from the bank. And he said, yeah, great. I said, what about we come down and we stay on the boat for the weekend and I'll pay you £100 for your inconvenience. And then if we don't buy it, you keep the £100. And if we do buy it, then take that off the price. And he said, yeah, great idea. So we came down, the four of us, 2007. So Sammy would have been 6. And Benji would have been 5. And we stayed here, and right here, there was a sofa bed, okay? And this window here was non-existent. There was no window in it. Anyway, we slept on the boat, and the first night we slept on the boat, Graham and I were right here, and Graham woke me up at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he said, hello. And there was a very tall, he had to stoop, although the ceilings on this boat are reasonable for a boat, this guy had to stoop. There was a man standing there. His head was like here, and he was stooping, looking down on us. He was bald, and he had one big hoop earring, just like a pirate. And Graham and I were like, oh my God, he was huge. And what he'd done was, he'd broken in through the kids' front cabin, through the hatch, and he'd trodden on one of them. Anyway, when he said, oh, I've trodden on one of the girls in the front, because I think he assumed they were fully grown women, I immediately went, oh my God, the kids. And I jumped out of the bed and I pushed past him down into the galley to check on them, and they were both like, yeah, we're fine, Mum, but a pirate just climbed through the hatch. Then when I was down there, so he's still up here, Graham's in bed down there. We had him surrounded, basically. And of course I had knives and the kettle and stuff in the galley. And he started saying, what the hell are you doing on my boat? Who the hell are you people? Like, dead aggressive. And we were like, oh shit. Maybe the guy who advertised it for sale, maybe it's not actually his boat to sell, and we're like burglars. So I said, oh, I'm really sorry, this guy, I said his name. He said, the boat's his, it's for sale, we're just here. And as soon as he heard the guy's name, he said, oh, no, it is his boat. He said, it is his boat. He said, I'm his friend, and there've been so many people break into the boat, squat on the boat. He's had so many problems. He's my best friend, and so I come and stay on the boat intermittently, especially when I've been on the piss, which he had. So I made him a cup of tea, and he showed us around the boat, and he explained a lot of the problems that the previous owner had had. And he said, you know, this is a great boat. She is a great boat, actually. She's in a bit of a state, as boats get, but I'm working on it. This boat was commissioned for the Carlsberg family, originally, in the 1970s, as a holiday boat to go on the Norwegian fjords. And she was a member of the Royal Danish Yacht Club, and she still has the crown and the stars on the bow from those days. And everything on this boat is phenomenally expensive from the days of, you know, back then. She's also got an incredibly thick hull, Graham, who's into ballistics, has often said you could fire all kinds of bullets at this hull, just wouldn't go through. And one thing I will say about this boat is she's never let water in below the waterline. She's watertight. However, when it comes to rain and water coming in above, well, that's a different matter. Anyway, so we weren't really very happy about the idea that this fella had broken in on the boat. And I actually said to the guy who was selling it, it's not for us. It's out of our price range and it's just not for us. So he dropped the price to 10 grand. And I kept saying, no, really, it's just, we'll be biting off more than we can chew. And eventually he dropped the price to 5 grand. And I just couldn't knock him back on that. She's a 45-foot motor launch. And I said, we tried to get loans from the banks. Banks weren't interested, of course. And so he said in the end, well, just pay me off as and when you can afford it. He's such a nice guy. He still lives in Jib. He's got a business there. And I said, oh, okay. And some months we'd have like 500 quid spare and some months only 100. And over Christmas, he used to say to us, don't worry about Christmas. Just get the kids presents and then we'll sort it out in January. And bit by bit, we paid him off, but we were also having to pay the moorings on this, which was £650 a month. And we had to pay the moorings on Far Ben that we were still living on in Brighton, which was 280. So all Graham's wages just went to moorings. And then my wages would buy us food and clothes for the kids and stuff like that. So to say we were destitute during those 3 years is no stretch of the imagination. I mean, we were destitute. And I can honestly say there wasn't a day that went by when I didn't go to sleep worrying about this boat or wake up worrying about this boat. Because after we'd owned it for a month, I phoned the marina, not this marina, it was a marina in Gibraltar, and I said, oh, I'd like to pay the moorings. And the response I got was, huh, when are you going to come and move this sinking boat? And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, thousands of kilometres away. Why didn't you ring us? He said, we did ring you and your husband said he couldn't give a toss. I said, well, that's bullshit. You haven't rung my husband at all. He would never say anything like that. What the hell are you talking about? Anyway, Graham and his brother flew down as a matter of urgency to see what the hell was going on with the sinking boat. And what it turns out is that we had squatters on the boat and that one of them had left the fresh water running, which would overflow into the bilge. And he went to the pub to go and get pissed. And the boat was submerged, way above the floor I'm standing on. Let me show you how high. So to sort of demonstrate how much water was in the boat from this guy just leaving the water running. There's the staircase. The water was here. It was all over the kitchen table. I mean, the damage was unbelievable. Luckily, a neighbour actually risked his life, for which I'm truly grateful, and he came on. He brought the marina's bilge pump, and he got her back up. His own mother watched the whole thing, and she said, oh my God, I thought my son was going down with your boat. And that was pure negligence on the part of the marina. One of many things that happened. Every time we did scrape together enough money to fly out and check on her, the lock had been broken. Things had been stolen. So, I mean, God knows what was happening for 3 years. And for 2 of those years, we just simply did not have the money to come out and check on her. And I have subsequently met people who've said, oh, I know your boat. Oh, I remember when so-and-so owned that in 2009. And I'm like, no, we bought it in 2007. It didn't belong to anybody after that except us. And they've said, oh yeah, there was this fella, he was having parties on it, drug parties, and living it up. And he said it was his boat, and he even had it for sale. And I'm like, really? Did he? And I know the individual they're talking about, and he has also since died of some sort of drug-related illness, I think. But yes, there were people living on this boat, pissing it up. The marina in Gibraltar were allowing it because they were friends of theirs. And back in those days, it was a drug culture, very, very much. Something that Graham and I are just not into. And they did inordinate damage to it. And meanwhile, we were living like peasants on our 36-foot harbour launch in Brighton Marina, which was a damn sight smaller than this. I mean, it was like living in, I don't know, old Mother Hubbard living in a shoe. in the pissing rain, cracking the ice off our balls, paying the moorings on this. We had to pay for the 5 tons of water that this idiot nearly sank our boat with. We actually had to pay the marina because the marina said, oh, it's salt water, your boat leaks. But when we left to go and pay the bill, they said, oh, there's a outstanding bill, 5 tons of water. And I said, well, that'd be what sank the boat, wouldn't it? And they said, oh, well, not our problem, you've got to pay for it. So we had to pay for the pleasure of that. There's so many stories I could tell you. But, I mean, back in those... Things have changed in Jib now, but back in those days, they really were pissed up and on drugs, and they didn't give a shit. They just wanted money and give you absolutely no service in return. So, anyway, we were living in Brighton from 2007. We didn't move down here until the 1st of January 2010, when we finally sold our boat in Brighton Marina. And then we found out the story about Sandra. Now, when we first moved down here, I got a job at the bowling centre and I largely did nights and weekends. And when I'd get home, I wouldn't get home till about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Graham's asleep, the kids are asleep, so it'd just be me on my own. So in order to try and get to sleep, I'd have a couple of glasses of wine and I would generally sit down here at the kitchen table. Right, and just sit up on my own. No internet, no smartphones then. And I saw someone coming down the stairs from the wheelhouse, and I thought, it looked just like my daughter. And it came down, and so I put my head around like that to look at Graham's cabin, and I saw this girl go into our cabin. She was completely solid. I could hear her footsteps. Not very heavy footsteps, but she was wearing a toweling dressing gown. She had short blonde hair in a bob. And I thought, well, that's got to be Sammy. My daughter's original name is Samantha, but she changed it to Faith. I thought, what the hell? I didn't see her up in the wheelhouse. How did she get past me from her bedroom? So I checked on her in there, and she was asleep. So I then went into my cabin and hunted around, and I couldn't find anybody, and I thought, what the hell? Anyway, just one of those things, isn't it? I just thought, well, I must be overtired. I must have imagined it. About a week later, I'm standing in the kitchen here. Kids have gone to school. Graham's taken the kids to school. And again, because I was doing nights, I'd be home alone during the day. And I look over to where the television is, and there she is, standing there, looking down at me. This girl with, well, woman, with blonde hair in a bob, same dressing gown, blue and white pinstripe pyjamas, and then she just vanished. She was quite see-through on that, and I thought, ah, right, okay, that'll explain the lady that I saw going down into my cabin. Now, at the back of the boat, that's mine and Graham's cabin, and that's the bathroom, and that's where India heard the laughing coming from. These steps... Sandra goes up and down these steps all the time, and she loves nothing more than stomping around on the back deck where we've done a lot of our videos. She likes to do that at night. Or if we're upstairs, she likes to stomp around down here. Now, she died, I believe, sitting here. Obviously, it was totally different furniture then. And apparently, when they came back, she was sitting bolt upright here, with her eyes wide open, looking over there, and she died. What year she died, I don't know, because the previous owner never mentioned any of this to me. And the guy that told me the story about Sandra, he didn't arrive in Jib until about 2009, so I suspect we were the owners of the boat and that this nonsense was going on behind our backs. The police spent about 5 hours on the boat, apparently, with her before the, ambulance or coroner came to retrieve her body. So, the RDP never told us about that. The marina never told us about any dead bodies on our boat. This guy could be making it up. The story, he might just be fanciful. But what I do know is we have all seen and heard Sandra, as we shall call her. And it's definitely a female. God only knows what was happening on this boat. All the time we were struggling to pay the bills, and we really were, and Graham and I nearly killed each other back in Brighton once or twice. Just the stress of paying for a boat that neither of us knew whether it even existed, whether it had sunk, whether someone was living on it. We just didn't know. In the end, we sued these people. But that's another story. I finally lost my temper with them after 10 years of this bullshit. So I have got Graham's phone. I'm going to do some of the recording on Graham's phone, and I've got 2 selfie stick things. So the app is on my phone. Graham's phone will be filming my phone. Now, the way these apps work, as I understand it, is they're just literally picking up transmissions of something that's making noises that could be interpreted as speech. And then the app has a library in it, and it chooses the nearest word that sounds like what the vibration has said. So if there is anything, you will hear it's a synthesized voice, of course, because it's an app. So there's no regional accents involved, and unfortunately being a synthesized voice can initially come across as quite sinister and scary. But once you get past that and you realise this is just the voice that they've chosen for the app, then you realise that, well, let's see what we're picking up. I actually wondered if what we were picking up yesterday could even have been our cat talking to us, or plants, flowers in the garden, or even mould. I mean, I'm just fascinated by this. I know a lot of you have heard caution, which brings me to another thing. If a lot of you, any of you are new to me and you don't know, I spent the first 20 years of my life in an incredibly haunted house that had poltergeist activity, serious poltergeist activity. I've never come across another building like it. I've come across buildings that I can feel they're haunted or there's something weird, but I've never come across anything as evil as 86 High Street, Lewes. So you can look it up, 86 High Street, Lewes. Lewes is a town where a lot of stuff has gone down. So I'm going to set the app up, I think probably down here, and let's see if we pick anything up. And obviously it's broad daylight, not because I'm a chicken, but I'd rather do it in broad daylight. I don't know why, it gives me a sensation of security. Right, let's see what we can discover. Okay, hello again. So I've got Graham's phone set up. Where I'm standing, this is where the pirate was standing. He's not really a pirate, he's a lovely guy. So I've got the app here up on my phone. The Wi-Fi here in the marina is quite crappy anyway, as they normally are. But I've actually turned my phone off the Wi-Fi like I did yesterday. So I'm going to launch the app now and put it in this stick. So, and I'm actually quite nervous about this. I don't know why. I've watched these ghost hunting things where they're all running around going, "Oh my God, somebody touched me!" And you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and be self-controlled. So, right.
Paratech by Appy Droid.
That's the type of voice it's got. So I'm going to put it, I'll just turn this around, and I don't generally ask questions, actually. I suppose I could. I generally sort of just stay quiet, and we might not pick anything up at all. So there we go. And then the word will appear, whatever it says will appear there. So let's see, I'll just get that a bit more at an angle so you can see it. Put it a bit closer. There. And then you can see it. Now, yesterday, in the house, it wouldn't shut up, wouldn't stop talking. So I'll be very interested if we get anything at all. Let me see if I need to...
Started scanning.
Oh, there we go. I had to press the started scanning button, so let's see. We might even get the same people I got yesterday in the house, in which case they're following me around, I suppose.
9.
9. Noisy motorbike. So where that...
Release.
What's it say? Release. Where the black line is, that is what the word that whatever has transmitted. And also, it then lists it in
Let.
let. And it generally comes out with random words. And possibly names as well. You can hear my neighbours chatting away in the background.
There.
There. There. Maybe. I generally don't ask any questions because I'm not exactly inviting it. Bear. And also the words that it says can be like it, that the app itself could misinterpret the noise.
Idiot.
Thank you. Idiot. Is that the idiot I was just talking about who filled the boat with water? Who's the idiot? Can you say who the idiot is? I do ask questions intermittently if I need to know what they're talking about.
Feed.
Feed. I suppose if I was going to ask any question, it would be, what are you? You know, like a plant, a fish, a cat, a human.
Quartz.
Yes. Yes, there is quartz here. Somewhere. There used to be. I'm sure we used to have a lump of quartz here. God, that's strange. Where's the quartz gone then? Yes, there used to be a lump of quartz on this table. I don't know where that's gone.
Land.
No, we're on a boat. On water, not land. That's bugging me now. My daughter used to have a lump of quartz here. In fact,
Screw.
Screw. A screw can also be a term for where the propellers go out. This is a twin screw boat. Or words that sound similar.
Grandad.
Some words it comes out with bear absolutely no relation to any situation, and then you can read stuff into it. Do you know what I mean? But where these
Samuel.
Samuel, right, yes. Yesterday when I was in the house, I asked the whoever I was talking to, I said, do you know if there are any ghosts on my boat? And they said Samuel. So that's quite interesting. That's something in common. Or it could just be that the app...
Died.
Okay, Samuel died.
Nerve.
Yes. I know a lot of younger people who have died down here from nervous system disorders, from drug abuse.
Killed.
Okay. That I can believe. Thinking back to the way things used to be around here.
Quarantines.
quarantines. I think we've all had quite enough quarantining to last us a lifetime.
Smoke.
Yes, I smoke.
$30.
30. Does that say 30? 30. Oh, and another thing that happened the other day. 33. 33 years old, maybe. Yes, another thing that happened the other day. About a week ago I was on the boat cleaning up. Not that you'd know it, but you should have seen it before. It was awful.
Interrupt.
Yes, sorry, I'm talking to the viewers. Alright, I'll shut up, but the TV turned itself on. Did you do that the other day? Because the remote control was facing the wrong way, and it's never done that before.
Cost.
Cost. Did you turn the TV on the other day? Because in all the years I've had that same TV, that has never ever happened, and I was just like, how the hell did it do that?
Boss.
Boss.
Aiden.
I know an Aiden. That he's very much alive. And actually, I'm not sure he's ever been on our boat. Don't think he has.
Beneath.
Beneath. Well, that would be water or bilge. Maybe. Maybe a fish. Do they have that sort of consciousness where they can transmit thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what is transmitting. I don't know about you guys, but I find this very Doctor Who sort of thing. I'm not really looking at it as a paranormal type thing. I'm looking at it as an undiscovered science.
Young.
Young. And as you can see, the speech, it's very slow. It's not fluid, that it just comes forward with these words. Now, sorry to interrupt, whoever you are, but...
Pattern.
Pattern. Some of the apps I was using yesterday, you could actually hear it making the noise and then the app interpreted, and sometimes we heard a different word to the way the app had interpreted it, so it could be whatever rhymes or sounds like. Pattern. Pattern.
Teenager.
Which one?
X. Rest. Interest.
And it did occur to us that it's picking up our speech pattern, you know, words that we're talking about. Because in order to use the app, you have to give the app permission to, you know, all your photographs and stuff. Although my photos on my phone are not tagged at all. And every time I make
Idiot.
a video... Okay. Well, rude. Every time I make a YouTube video, I delete it off my phone, so it doesn't have them.
Nine.
What is the significance of 9?
Cunning.
Cunning.
Normal.
Yesterday, one of them in the house, and we don't seem to be picking up, I'm quite relieved actually, we're not picking up all the other guys in the house, so this is something quite different, and they're relentless. I mean, I could let this thing run all night, it will keep producing words, so I don't know. One of them referred to Ben as confident. They just...
Paranormal.
See, I've just said paranormal, so it could be mimicking what I'm saying, the actual app itself, and it may not be a transmission. So I'm still sceptical. Yeah, one of them referred to Ben as confident, and they kept saying, ask him, confident, where's confident?
Phantom.
Okay, I haven't used the word phantom.
Used. Said.
You said. I think it's trying to say you said, not used, said. You said. No, I did not say phantom, but I did say paranormal. That's what...
Nerve.
Can you tell me anything about Sandra, as we call her?
6.
Can you tell me anything about the lady that we see on the boat, see and hear on the boat?
Wings. Lily.
Okay, Lily. Can you tell me anything about the lady on the boat? Who is this lady that we see and hear?
Scared. Uniform.
Sometimes they mention inanimate objects that are around and about. They did that in the house yesterday. Unusual things and locating where they are. I mean, there's loads of uniforms on this boat. Dolphin Safari uniforms for a start, RAF uniforms.
Clear.
We see a lady on the boat who disappears like a phantom, and we don't know who she is or what she is. Do you know anything about her?
Past.
Past. When?
Bet.
Bet can also be but, we discovered yesterday, and other can also mean brother. So,
Hike.
hike. Could be like, but like.
Phone.
But like phone. Maybe.
Hurting. Fear. X.
Seems to refer to Sandra a lot with scared, fear and X. I don't know what X. X.
Maze.
Maze. Ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, ex. I've no idea.
Kim.
Kim could be him. Him. Because I have actually heard on the other app how these things, they're very throaty and...
Sadness.
Right, okay. I've never detected anything frightening or sad on this boat. Pain in the arse, this boat has been, but not sad. In fact, when we were living in Brighton, I nicknamed her the Albatross. I was positively wanted to cut loose from her because of all the problems. Squash.
7.
7. Because of all the people that taking advantage, quite frankly, and living it up on our boat.
Thick.
Thick. It's very hard to interpret words coming through like at intermittent 30-second gaps.
Quite.
I'm not messing with this thing at all, guys, I promise. This is... But then, as I say, this could just be an app, a clever app that's... if it came out with something like, if it could tell me the name of my...
Fade.
Fade. If it could tell me the name of this boat, then that'd be a different matter. And I don't think I have said the name of the boat today on the boat or since we've had the app. So that'd be quite impressive.
Easy.
Oh, it's easy, is it? What is the name of this boat?
Adjust.
Well, it's not called adjust unless you're adjusting something.
Wash.
No. Or if you can show me,
One.
if you can show me some object, describe some object that is in the cabin now and where it is, because they did do that last night in the house with the pencils.
Fear me.
Fear me. Could be hear me. And also, words like that can be pre-programmed into an app to like spook people out and freak people out.
Play.
I do think some of the language that's in the library is designed to be provocative and frighten people. I'm just a bit more science.
Banshee.
Banshee. I actually heard it say Angie, which is interesting. Why is the screen going to... Oh, the screen's going dark on that one. Banshee.
Grey.
Yeah, Graham. It's not the name of the boat, though.
Said.
Said can also be sad. Graham said what?
Yankee.
Whoa. Now that is weird.
Scared.
No, not particularly, but that is weird. Yankee.
Inner.
What does that say? Inner.
Periodical.
Periodical newspaper.
Manifest.
And you can see where the words that it's said are filling up this screen When it gets full, you can't see any new words, so then I have to clear it. But I'm not going to go on for hours and hours, this interview with an unknown entity. We'll wrap it up quite soon.
Kicked.
Kicked.
Leven.
Is that 11 or 11? 11. Leven. It says 11. I think it's trying to say 11.
Gag.
Tell me about this boat before I wrap it up. Tell me about this boat. Gag.
Stop.
No. It's interesting this one says numbers because the other apps, they don't say numbers.
Pillow.
Pillow. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there because, as you can see, if you download this app, they come out with series of words that, when you put them together, don't make a lot of sense. Sometimes they do. Am I reading something into it? That was kind of weird, the Yankee bit, wasn't it? I was just waiting for the next word to be, as you all know. But she is alive and well. There's nothing.
Sand.
Sand, yes, there is sand underneath the boat on the seabed. Or it could be and. This is the thing. So, it's not an exact science. David. Not an exact science at all. So I'm going to turn the app off now. Let's just clear all of that. And how do I turn this thing off? Let's get one more word out of it. It's quite addictive, actually. You could sit here listening. Out. Yes. I think we will call it a day at that. So, make what you will of all that. This phone is not on the Wi-Fi. Actually, the phone I'm recording with is also not on the Wi-Fi. We'll edit all this together later. But yes, as I was saying before, the rather rude app told me not to interrupt. But this TV over here, I'll just show you. The remote control, that's the end that has to turn the telly on, and it was facing that way, and it turned the TV on. And I've never, ever, ever known that to happen with that TV. In fact, when Graham finished doing the dolphin trip, so he'll be here soon, he's gone off to do the dolphin trip, I said to him, how can it do that? And he said, I don't know, better turn it off at the plug socket, because can't have it doing that, driving the neighbours crazy. So that's a new development. That's a bit of a mystery. There are many mysteries in life, but I do believe in the science of it, and I'm all for things that can help discover or get to the truth of it. Let me know what you think. And I might get round to telling you some of the other horror stories that happened with this boat. I mean, we had 3 years of just absolute pure hell with the boat, until we moved it here to Spain, basically. And then everything calmed down. It makes such a difference if you've got a good marina to keep your boat safe. So, thoughts, opinions. I bet you've all got plenty of thoughts and opinions. Hope it didn't freak you out. It hasn't freaked me out. It's probably just an app that, I don't know, comes up with random words that then freak us out. but who knows? And it never once said Sandra. Instead it said Lily. So who knows? There are more things in heaven and earth, or however that expression goes. Look forward to hearing your feedback below in the comments. As always, thank you for joining us. Okay, I think we'll probably start with this one. Although I've done an interview with a ghost, and you'll see it was quite rude. Called me an idiot a couple of times and told me not to interrupt. I thought we'd have some fun. This is only for entertainment purposes and possibly a little bit of weird scientific research. And just get this stick set up so it doesn't slip down. Oh, so many things on the side here. So I thought we might ask the entity, the app, what it thinks of Meghan and Harry. Just for a bit of light entertainment, okay? None of this is to be taken seriously, of course. So I get my phone started, I just find... Where's my app gone? I'll get it launched. Okay.
Paratech by Appy Droid.
That's just this, that's the voice it uses.
Started scanning.
Started scanning, and I'll turn it round so you can see it. I am going to ask it some questions. What's it saying? What did it say? 1. It likes numbers, this thing. And it could just be that the app is generating random numbers and statements. So, hello.
Keyring.
Keyring. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. What do you think of Meghan? Because it just comes up with random words, so let's see what it comes up. What do you think of Meghan Markle?
Last.
What? Last? What do you think of Meghan Markle? What's your opinion?
Nana.
Nana. What does that mean? Nah. Everyone else has got an opinion, so why not ask this transmission?
Noise.
That's your opinion of Meghan Markle. Noise. I'll laugh if it says things like lens, light, shine.
Second.
That's one way of putting it.
Nick.
What do you think of Prince Harry? Or what do you think of Meghan and Harry?
Hi.
Hi. That is something else I've noticed on this. There's a delay, so if we ask too many questions, then the answer comes a bit later. So I'll repeat. What do you think of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Duke and Duchess of Sussex? What's your opinion of them? And what's going on?
Up. Wash.
Wash can also be watch.
Intern.
Intern can be in turn, like two broken words, because the app is just translating whatever the noise it makes.
Dave.
Dave. What's your opinion of the situation going on with Meghan and Harry? What can you see happening?
Scratched. Four. Heat.
Scratched for heat.
Seven. Fifth.
It's almost as if it's stumped for words when thinking about Harry and Meghan, as if it doesn't even know who Harry and Meghan are.
Nightmare.
And I have to say, it does seem to just throw out random words in no particular order.
Grasp.
Grasp. Nightmare. Was that grasp or rasp? Oh, I need my glasses. I can't see that. Was that grasp? Yes. Nightmare. Grasp.
Belong.
Belong. No, I swear I haven't programmed this thing or controlled it in any way. It's just it's liable to say anything, quite frankly. Woo!
One.
And back to the numbers. It really likes numbers, this one. Don't get this in the house at all.
Feed.
It's obviously taking its time and choosing its words carefully. Meghan and Harry. What's going on there?
Kicking.
Kicking. Kicking off. Bucking the system, maybe?
Fatal.
Okay, fatal. Well, let's not get too deep and heavy with this app. As I say, only for entertainment purposes, this section of the video. The rest of it is quite sensible. The one part that did freak me out quite a lot was when it said Yankee, because I hadn't said that word out loud for days, actually, because that's not actually what I call her.
Island.
Island. Okay. I think it's still talking about Meghan and Harry. So I'll just carry on interrupting, because this thing has told me not to interrupt before, as you'll see. Team. Island team. So, yeah, it was just the Yankee bit that kind of got me. And also
90.
90. I also, the word banshee, because there's a troll that refers to her as banshee quite a lot. So it goes to show maybe evil entities left, right and centre, trolls and things communicating through apps. So yeah, that's enough about Meghan and Harry. We get that. You also think they're a nightmare and grasping and kicking, and yes, all very appropriate. Of course,
Incubus.
Right, I'm not even going to tell you what that word means because I looked it up yesterday and it's incubus. You don't want to know, so I'm going to...
Scanning stopped.
Scanning stopped, so I will close the app. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. I haven't checked my emails yet today. There is somebody who's a sound engineer who said they're going to email me, so I will look forward to those emails and we'll see what comes forth.